Well, just hey there. How you doing, ladies? We are doing day two of five focus secrets tonight. Oh my gosh, my brain is just like still super fuzzy with this cold, but I promise I've got lots of goodness for you tonight. So, if you are joining me just for the first time, you have stumbled across my 5-day mini training that we're doing this week, which is all about how you get your focus back in your business. And today is day two. So if you're just catching it for the first time, hey Tony, how you going? You want to go back and watch day one. It's really important because yesterday we talked about the number one secret to getting focus right that most people completely overlook. And that's the one thing that's completely responsible for shifting how I think about my business and resulting in 90% of my inspiration. So go back and watch day one. You will find it on my page. And if you're really interested in watching what I've got to say, you want to be signing up for that as well. There is a bit.ly link above this video, bit.ly/5 focus secrets. Now, what is this all about? This is about answering some of the questions that have been coming through my market research lately and the things that are constantly coming up for my clients where they're telling me that they don't know what to do next. They are overwhelmed, which I think is an incredibly overused word, but there you go. I clearly need more caffeine, except it's 8 o'clock at night, and who would do that to themselves? It's, they don't know what to do next to be able to get to their goals. They don't know what the things of all the things that they have to do are the most important. They don't know how to speak to their ideal client. They don't know how to attract more followers. And so what I'm sharing with you is my 5 secrets of focus. These are the things that I focus on in my business to make sure that I'm doing the stuff that matters. So I really hope that you jump in and that you get something out of it and share it with me. Hey, Alison, how you going? Welcome, welcome. Now, last night, we talked about your vision for your business. We talked about the difference between your ideal life or your personal vision and where you want to be, how you want to be living, what your lifestyle looks like, how you spend your time, all of that kind of good stuff, which is wrapped up in your ideal life, which is really important. But we talked about why your business vision is different and why it's really important that you have a business vision, number one. And number 2, that you are really clear about it, that you've got clarity on the purpose of your business and what its intention is and the impact that you want to make through it and what it looks like, what a successful business looks like. And we talked a bit about that over different time frames as well. And ultimately, it was all about alignment. So being able to really ground yourself in your business vision so that you start to know what you need to do next to get there. You start to be able to build trust and alignment with yourself and your business and your vision. So today's topic is how I deal with the spinning head syndrome that stops so many women getting their messaging right and how they show up right. So this is so that you don't knock yourself out of the game, because we all get up in our noggin about messaging and it just doesn't do us any favors. So this is about you, your brand, and what you stand for. So let me ask you a question. And I would love, as you know, to get some interaction from you lovely ladies tonight. I like to chat. I think that's why going live is my thing, which my mum would think is hilarious. She also would probably think it's pretty funny that my girls have pretty much not drawn breath since they were born. My word, there's so many words come out of those beautiful babies. So, God, I can completely distract myself. I shouldn't do that. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Who are you and what do you stand for? Can you answer that question? Because I know when I started in my business, I certainly couldn't. I mean, I would be able to blabber on about something and it would probably be not, 100% off the mark, but I couldn't really say with absolute certainty what I felt that I stood for, how my values were aligned around the things that I had to say. Maybe not necessarily even knew exactly what it was that I had to say. That's what I'm talking about tonight. The thing that stops you getting your message out there, and the thing that gets in the way of how you show up in your business on a day-to-day basis. Tony's saying, I know, right? It's really hard. It could be that's partly because it's 8 o'clock at night, but that's a really hard question to answer. And it stops us from being able to really show up authentically. You know, we get all of this kind of talk from the online and outside world around be authentic and be true to your message and people will follow you. Well, that's not 100% true, because if you don't know who you are and what you stand for and what your message is, then how can you be authentic and true to it? And so I alluded to this a little bit last night, and it's absolutely tied to your vision and your purpose in your business. But your brand and your business identity is what will make or break your success. Because we get really caught up with, well, let me ask you a question actually. Brand. When I say brand, what does that mean to you? And how many of you go straight to color palettes and logos and visual identity and the way that your website looks when you think about the word brand? It is about so much more than that. And the stuff that we're talking about tonight is the stuff you've got to get right before you even think about your color palette, which I know it's the fun part. I really enjoyed doing that too. But I love my brand now so much more because it came from that core identity that I wanted my business to embody, that the boldness, the freshness, the honesty, the new ideas, and just all of the words that I came up with around my brand came from this. So I hope you stick with me. So when you think about who you are, I want you to start to think about your core values. Alison says, who knew brand was more than colors? I want you to think about your values, your personal values. Let's not even think about your business for a second. If you were to sit down again with that pen and paper, that trusty little journal that you've always got by your side. I've completely forgotten to share this into the tribe, so I'll go and do that later on. Whoops. What would you write down as your core values? Take some time to really think about this and try and go deeper than the ones that will come out immediately. Because often we'll say things like honesty, integrity, you know, wanting to make a difference. Family is often a core value for people. Get right down into the detail of what it is. So for me, when I get into my core values, integrity and authenticity are really, really important. And they are actually core attributes of how I show up in life. And anybody who has a conversation with me for more than 30 seconds knows that I'm pretty straight shooter. I say what I think. I'm really honest about it. I'll do it in a sensitive and empathetic way, but I will challenge people when I don't think they're being really honest or thinking deeply about something. So when I say that those are core values for me, I mean that really, deeply. My family, as in my girls, is number one. All of my decisions in my business get made around my family. And that is evidenced in my life by the fact that we sold up and relocated to another state because that was what was best for our family. And we completely uprooted and completely changed the way that we live and structure our lives financially, from a work perspective, a whole bunch of different things around that core value. So the message there is, when you're sitting down and thinking about what your core values are, think about how you show up in life. Think about how you make decisions in your life. And yes, Tony, I will come back to that in a second. And think about when you feel really out of alignment with a decision that you've made. It doesn't have to be a business decision. What makes you really, really uncomfortable? Those are the things that you will find are your absolute core values, and it's important to identify them. Tony has said when it's purely product-based. Well, let me ask you a question. What sort of product is it? What sort of thing does it solve for? What sort of client do you love to work with? What sort of messaging do you love to get out there? Your values can still shape your message in your business. There's a reason why you chose that product for your business. And not every business is deep and meaningful about their purpose. So it can be about fun. It can be about, organization. It can be about avoiding the crazy. It can be about a whole bunch of things. So for your product-based business, think about all of the values. So I've given you some heavy values. I also absolutely love to be a bit of a goose. I hate making decisions outside of anything to do with work or my business. I'm incapable of deciding what to cook for dinner. I love red lipstick. I love dancing in the rain with my girls. Being a bit of a nutbag and not taking myself too seriously is really important to me, and I bring that into my business too. Okay, so make sure that you capture the full gamut of the things that are really important to you in terms of values. Great service, absolutely. Great product, great delivery becomes the value. Yep. The things that are really important to you in making a difference in how you deliver your product. So after you've done that, after you think about your values, I want you to start thinking about how you're showing up in your business, and be really, really honest with yourself. Are you showing up in your business in a way that is really authentic to all of those values? When you know how you are going to show up, when you know what is really core to you and core to your identity, and you've started to relate that back into your business to say, so similar to what Tony said, okay, so these are 3 things that are really important to me in terms of my business identity: great service, great product, great delivery. Absolutely. Then you can start to think about how you need to show up to make sure that those values, that alignment, that core piece around your brand is always delivered upon. Does that make sense? Let me know if this is making sense. Let me give you an example. Early on in my career, I worked for a biotechnology company, actually, and we were one of the smaller players. We would import and sell reagents and chemicals, things that scientists use to do their research into researchers around human disease. So that was kind of my highly technical bag. Anyway, and we were small. We couldn't compete with the big guys. We couldn't compete on price. It's really expensive to import anything into Australia and then sell it. And so we made a strategic decision to differentiate ourselves on service. And that then became the core element of our identity in everything that we did. Being able to deliver excellent service, being able to make sure that we always delivered within the timeframes we said we were going to, committing to our clients that if a product didn't work, we would always give them the support and get an outcome for them, whether that was a replacement or troubleshooting with them to help their experiment work better. The way that we built relationships with our clients, and people came to us and paid more for our products where they could get an equivalent product somewhere else because we embodied that core identity piece of our business. How that flowed through, because this was a bigger business than the ones that we're talking about tonight, is that we tended to attract employees who were of the same value set, because they were drawn to the way that we operated. They were drawn to what we offered to our employees. They were drawn to the values, I guess, that we talked about just naturally in our marketing, in the way that we talk to our clients, and in the way that we talk to people through the interview process. And so we got this amazing group of people who had just really excellent customer service skills and always went the extra mile, and we had an amazing time together because we were so aligned. Does that make sense? And so in the same way as that, if your ideal client can really relate to you, and if you are showing up consistently, being really integral about your values, and your core message and the value that you want to deliver to them, and you feel like you're showing up as yourself, you're not trying to pretend to be someone else, your ideal client will be attracted to you. And it's really important that you have the way or have the mechanisms in place there then for them to be able to connect with you and your business so that they can attract to you. And that's what the marketing stuff is about. We'll talk about that later this week. But having this right first is what attracts them to you. It just means that you're showing up in all those different places with this bit right. Does that make sense? Let me know. Hey, Bonnie, how you going? Alison says yes. Hey, Melissa. When you say showing up, do you mean on social media, in person, or when you're working, or all of the above? Absolutely. In fact, it's just as important when it's just you and your computer doing something, that you're showing up with integrity to your values, as it is when you're in front of a person or talking to a prospective client or talking to a current client, or marketing or networking, or putting copy out there. It's all of that, because when you truly figure out who it is that you need to be in your business, and then you just show up as that person all the time. For a start, it takes a hell of a lot less energy to show up as yourself and be really authentic and true to your values. I don't know if you've ever tried it, but it's exhausting to show up as somebody else and pretend to be somebody else. And I say that from experience, from 20 years in corporate, showing up and doubting myself, and so pretending to be a confident person, when in fact for a lot of that I was just trying to be who I thought they wanted me to be. It wasn't until I actually relaxed into myself and found my own confidence that I really started to excel in a way that didn't take a huge amount of energy. So as an added bonus there. So when you are then, I've just gotten myself completely lost. When you are thinking about this, another way that you can start to explore it is to think about, how do you want to be described? So you've done it from an introspective perspective. What are my values? What do I stand for? Who is me when I'm at my most comfortable? And how do I bring that into my business? Well, then what do you want people to perceive? How do you want people to interact with you? A great way of doing this is actually just asking people. When I did go through my branding exercise, the first thing that the coach that I was working with at the time said is, I want you to go out and choose 5 really close friends and family, and choose 5 clients, and ask them to give you 5 words to describe you. Now, for a start, I highly recommend that you do this, because it was the most incredible experience and incredibly humbling to get back these words where I had no idea that people perceived me in that way. So it's really powerful exercise for you to do. Go out and find 5 really close friends or family, 5 clients, and then ask them to describe you in 5 words. Use some of that and have a look at it and distill that back and say, okay, is this how I want to be described in my business? If it's not, if it's really not in alignment to your values and how you feel like you want to show up, well, then that's time to do a little bit of self-searching around, well, what is it that I'm feeling when I'm talking to people in my business or in life in general? Friends and family, they're going to give you a reflection of the way that you are on a day-to-day basis. So really examine that if there is anything there that is different, because you might be, I don't know, we sometimes get into the habit of not loving ourselves enough. And we get into the habit of not trusting that we can just be who we are. And sometimes it's a self-development opportunity and we really don't know that we're doing a particular thing, or behaving in a certain way that has an impact on people. And so it's, there's lots of richness in this exercise, both from a self-growth perspective and then also from learning more about yourself and how people perceive you. And so you come up then with how you want to be described. Now, if you look at that, I want you to think about your message. Think back to the purpose that we talked about yesterday with your vision. What is the purpose of your business? Why does it exist? What's the impact that you want to make? Then look at your values. Look at who you want to show up as. Look at how you want to be described. And then do your message. What is your message? And like I said, for some businesses, that'll be a deep and meaningful type one. For me, that's about confidence, and it's about helping my ideal client, helping professional mums really step into their confidence and be able to just embody themselves all the time and be empowered to express their beliefs and to go after what they really want. And just to stop feeling like they have to say yes to everybody or they have to compromise constantly. You can be a giving, selfless person without compromising yourself constantly. And that's my message. And that kind of permeates into, sure, I'm a business coach. I teach on a lot of business topics. I teach people how to market. I teach people how to create a product that is going to be something that their clients really want to have. I teach on tactical stuff. I teach on strategy. But my underlying message is always woven through the way that I teach, the way that I write my messages for social media, the way that I market. So what is your message? And are you really consistent about it? So do a bit of an audit. Look at the stuff that you're putting out there and just really ask yourself, does that have my underlying message there? Hey, Julia, how you going? Don't forget to pop your questions in, guys. I would love to know if this is making sense. And if you've got questions about how you kind of do all of this. Excuse me. So I've said, and so are you consistent? And then look at how you can be more consistent. Once you've done all of that, I wonder if you were to sit back and look at your more traditional brand stuff, I wonder if you would stick with the same colors and the same logo and the same, website and all that kind of jazz. How I deal with the spinning head syndrome that stops me from not knowing what to write and not knowing how to show up is to come back to this stuff and go, okay, wait, what is it that I want to get out there? And it becomes a habit. You start to do it habitually. You start to stop yourself every time you don't put your core message into what you're writing. You start to notice when you're not putting your energy forward. I like to be bubbly, but right now I'm not being bubbly because I've got a head cold and there's more than enough bubble going on inside, frankly. But do you know what I mean? And so it would be inauthentic for me to fake a whole bunch of energy for you guys. I'm moving a lot, but that's because I can't, talk and not move. So that's what I've got for you tonight. So we've had a couple of people come on a bit later, so I'm just going to say it again. Your brand and your business identity will make or break your success. This is about who you are. It's about how you're showing up in your business. It's about what you stand for and your core values, and how you bring those values into your business, which parts of yourself you want to bring into your business, and then how your ideal client can relate to you through your message. Because how you want to be described is how you're actually showing up, and then that's the perception that your ideal client is getting as well, and then being consistent about that. That is your brand foundation. That is what is super, super important for you in your business. So I want you to oh, Julia, awesome. Enjoy your Real Entrepreneur Mums meeting. I hope you have an amazing time. So I want you guys to stop and think for a second, okay? Think about where you want to be in your business. Is your brand and what you stand for perfectly aligned right now? And if it's not, why isn't it? I'm going to throw another question in here because it might not be just because you haven't done all that stuff we've just talked about. Maybe there's something holding you back. So tell me, is there something holding you back? What is in your way? And in fact, are you in your way? So often we get stuck by resisting doing things that make us feel uncomfortable. And just because you feel aligned around your vision, and just because you feel aligned around your brand and your message and who you are and how you want to show up, doesn't mean you're automatically going to be amazingly comfortable going live on Facebook or writing a post or picking up the phone to call a prospective customer or client. So there's still discomfort in the things that we need to do, and we get in our own way. And I've talked a lot, I won't go into it a lot too much tonight, but there's heaps of Mums in Biz show episodes where I talk about the fact that your amygdala, that reptilian brain, is hardwired to keep you comfortable and safe. And so it's fighting against us stepping outside of our comfort zones. So maybe that looks like, oh, I was going to show up every day this week in my group, but I was really tired, so I couldn't do it, or I had an appointment, or somebody rang me, when in actual fact there are multiple reasons why you didn't do it. And at the end of the day, if you were really, really going to be deliberate, you'd make it happen anyway, and you'd say no to some stuff. Do you see what I mean? So maybe you're just doubting yourself, though. Maybe you're writing this copy and you're just rewriting it and rewriting it and rewriting it because you're doubting yourself on whether anybody would want to read it. Maybe you are fearful of actually delivering the service that you're trying to sell, and so you hold back a bit in your sales conversations, and that authenticity or the self-belief doesn't come through to your people. Yeah, so think about what's it going to take to move past your inner critic and your inner resistor to start to take the action that you need to be taking. I want you to think about that. Think about when and how you're going to really commit to you and your business and what that looks like for you. Alison's saying, how to put it all together holds me back, but I'm chipping away at that problem. You're most welcome, my darling girl. So now I've lost my spot again. I really shouldn't go between different things at night time. So when are you going to really commit to you and your business? And what would it mean to you to start showing up differently, authentically, honestly, and most importantly, frankly, courageously in your business? I want you to journal that. I want you to spend some time with it tonight and think about it. What is it going to mean to you when you can feel yourself showing up differently? When you know that you're doing something that's taking extra courage? Think about the gratitude that you will feel to yourself for taking that step. Think about those times, those times when you really don't want to go to the networking function or something like that, but you go and then you come home and you're like, oh, I was so close to bailing on that, but I'm so glad I went. The energy was amazing, or I met this amazing lady and we really connected, or one of my business besties was there and I didn't realize I really needed to talk to her. And so it's just like that. It feels exactly the same when you take courageous steps in your business and you get off that live and go, God, I was so glad I did that. That I feel amazing. That's what I want you to explore. And I want you to think about how it would feel to you to hit those goals, to realize that vision that we were talking about last night. That's the stuff that is going to spur you on. That's what's going to keep you committed. Okay? That's what's going to get you taking the action. And that is what Empowered CEO Academy is all about. It's about finding you. It's about getting to know who you can really be in your business. It's about learning to show up as your best self while getting your business structured in a way that you love. even more. Like, it makes you love your business more when it's structured right, when you know the things you need to be focusing on, that 5%, which is what we're talking about tomorrow night. Taking action and doing it with your tribe and with a mentor that is invested in your success. That's me, by the way. That is what really spurs us forward. I think that as women in business and as mums in business, there's something about community and connection and tribe which just makes a massive difference. So I'm going to ask you a question. Does that sound like something that you need? Does that sound like something that you want in your business? What is it that is missing in the way that you are currently learning and challenging yourself and growing and stretching and taking action in your business? What is missing from that? Tomorrow I am going to be sharing the link to check out more details on ECA. I'm taking 10 ladies into the program, and I absolutely can't wait to meet these incredible women who are on their way to me right now. I fully believe that. I'm very energetically focused lately in how I'm thinking about my business, and I just can feel that those ladies are already around, and I can't wait to meet them. And maybe that is one of you as well, and if so, I would be so incredibly thrilled. But so hang around. I would love to share with you tomorrow more about the Empowered CEO Academy, but we will be doing that after tomorrow's topic, which is this. Tomorrow we are covering my approach to ensuring that you are actually working on the 5% moneymaker activities, rather than diligently working on all the stuff that just isn't going to increase the bottom line. And we're going to cover why you aren't seeing those results yet too. So I hope you join me tomorrow night. Thank you so much for playing along with me tonight, my lovely ladies. I have thoroughly enjoyed chatting to you. Now, once again, if you want lifetime access to these videos so you can go back and redo the exercises and sense check for yourself, then make sure you sign up. The link is above the video, bit.ly/5 focus secrets, and then that will give you access to the training page. I'll be taking the videos down after the end of this week. Thank you, my loves. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. I'm going to go and make myself a cup of tea. Look at my hair. Isn't it amazing how you can have both flat and fuzzy hair at the same time? Astounds me. Anyway, I hope you have a great evening, and I look forward to talking to you, all of you, again tomorrow night, same time, same bat channel. See ya.